Hello, everybody. My name is Vishal Thakwani, and I just graduated from DPS International Ghana last year. And I'm very proud to say that I got 4 A stars. And I'm very happy to share to all of you the things I did and the systems I built for my habits and the very effective measures one can take on achieving A stars and success in anything. You see, success is not just a finish line. It's a routine of measures, a habits, a system, some steps you take every day of your life to feel satisfied but still have that craving within you to be at your optimum best. That is what success is in itself. I would like to start by a Tao Te Ching encapsulating an idea. Men are born soft and supple. Dead, they are stiff and hard. Plants are born tender and pliant. Dead, they are brittle and dry. Thus, whoever is stiff and inflexible is a disciple of death. Whoever is soft and yielding is a disciple of life. The hard and stiff will be broken. The soft and supple will prevail. I hope you all have come here with an open mind because I'm going to share with you right off the bat things which can help you be very, very productive in achieving success. Now, the very first thing I would recommend is your sleep cycle. Now, we sleep in 1.5-hour durations, and that, I tell you, can really affect your studying. Because if you have a foggy mind and you wake up only like with a 4.5 hour or 6 hours, that is definitely not recommended for you. And I would say that 7.5 hours of sleep to 9 hours is the best. And as you're a child and you're learning as well, like definitely you'll be so stressed during the day and not always you can have the time to meditate. Though meditation can only take 3 to 5 minutes, one can be stressed due to so many reasons as well because life is a roller coaster. And this roller coaster can throw you away if you don't hold tight and don't have systems in place. The next thing I would go on to is the Pomodoro technique. Now, it has been known that our productivity can only last for an optimum of 20 minutes. After that, we definitely need a break. Now, for this, you can do literally anything. You can just sit down and doodle. You can go out for a walk. You just have to be honest with yourself. You have to know that right now, after this, like it is just not going to enter my head and I have got to take a break. And there's nothing wrong in taking a break of 5 to 10 minutes after every 20 to 30 minutes. This is the Pomodoro technique. Now, I would also suggest you do exercise because, you know, the runner's high and getting off all the endorphins running into you makes you very happy. And sometimes this is the type of break you need. Have a banana. Banana is said to make people feel happy and less stressed. Like literally do your research on even foods which can affect your mood because you want to be happy when you're studying. You can't be like sad or like battling with so many other things. Now, the next thing I would like to say is that time is something very precious and you get it for free. So please don't waste it. And the best way to be productive is to use less time on things which don't matter. Now, I would like to tell you that though sometimes we do end up having assignments from school, you know, not always you have to do the things which deadline comes first. Because you have got to know which thing is the most important and which thing is going to give you the most credit. You've got to be smart about your time. Just because something's deadline is tomorrow doesn't mean I will have to spend most of my efforts now, knowing that there's a way bigger thing to account for my grades day after tomorrow and I'm not learning for that. Like, be very smart about your time. And also, one thing which can really change your productivity to the next level is building an environment. Have you ever like gone on YouTube for motivational channels and they'll be telling you to keep your desk clean and have everything sorted out? Well, that is because your environment can help you to such an extent that you don't even know. Like they did some research at this cafe, you know, and where they only kept some sodas, you know, like coming from Europe, you know, so many countries, they had these kind of sparkling waters and sodas. And they said that when they increased the number of water bottles kept at different locations in the cafe, then automatically the sales of the soft drinks and some kind of sodas decreased by 11%. So you definitely know that if you build your environment in such a way, you can have your habits stick. Now, for example, if you wake up in the morning and you really tell yourself that, I've been buying books and I just don't read it. That is the thing. Like, we all have this kind of fetish of wanting to know more, but do we actually always put in the effort? Yes, we want to get that knowledge. Yes, we want to be that kind of ideal person we wish we were, like having to exercise more, having the best physique and stuff. But like, do we actually put in the efforts? Not all the time. Like, when you wake up in the morning and you tell yourself that, yes, I want to read, but I'm not doing, one best thing which you could do is that you could keep a book on top of your pillow and make your bed. So at night when you come back, you see a book on top of your bed and you're just like, okay, right, now I'm meant to. And James Clear, the author of the book Atomic Habits, very clearly said this, like, you can make such atomic habits, like make your life 1% better every single day. And I tell you, success will come from this compounding effect. It's this compounding effect of every day, the little changes you make. I was reading about the one bicycle team in the UK and how they lost once and they were just trying to change their efforts 1%, 1%. Okay, today I'll wear like the knee pads and we'll try and put like, let's say, the oil in the friction pads, and they go into so much of details. Well, you don't have to. You are very lucky that your systems can very easily be placed, because trust me, the student life is one of the easiest. Now, let me get to the next point. Desire. I tell you, it is not intelligence, but desire that prompts behavior. As they say, it is better to be curious than intelligent. I tell you, every decision we make in life is an emotional decision to such a little extent or a big extent. That doesn't matter. But whatever decision you make in life is an emotional decision. And you have got to make use of that. You got to understand that it's emotion which drives us as humans. Let me tell you. They did some kind of research on rats. There's some, I'm not a medical student, but there's this part of the brain which really spikes our desire levels. And they removed that part of the brain from the rats. And apparently they just like ceased to live. They just died. Though they did experience pleasure when they did get stimulus, as in getting a mate or giving them food and all those things, they end up passing away. That is because they didn't have the desire, though they were having the pleasure. So one thing to know is that you need to have that desire in you. I tell you that when I was doing my A-levels, yes, definitely there are times when you won't feel motivated to do something. But when you work only when you're feeling motivated, then fam, you're not going to get like anything in life. Because I tell you, sometimes for success to happen, you got to fall in love with the boredom of studying. It's not all the time you'll be feeling like studying or doing something. Like if I tell you yesterday I didn't feel like preparing for this speech or a talk with you all, like, come on, I have to. Like, you have to know that you've got things to do and you have to spend your time the right way. You got to be on top of your feelings. You got to understand yourself. And you know yourself way better. That's why when I tell people like about perseverance and things and how I went through my A-levels, most of these things are there in this book, The Atomic Habits, which I'm reading. Like, you yourself understand yourself, where you're spending your time and where your time is going. So if you sit down one day and then just see that, okay, today I'm wasting time on, let's say, social media. What do I do? Okay, so I download an app which tells me, which tracks the time I'm using on this, or maybe I only use it on the weekends. You come up with solutions yourself. You have just got to be honest with yourself. That's the biggest thing. Now, about being honest to yourself, I would definitely say that if motion doesn't lead us to results, why do we do it? Sometimes we do it because we actually need to plan on or learn more, but more often than not, we feel like we are making progress. That is why sometimes you'll just waste time on motivational videos on YouTube and you feel like, okay, I'm actually like making progress, but you aren't. Sometimes you feel like, okay, I've bought some couple books and you feel like you're making progress in the right direction, but that is not the progress we need. The progress is the action which actually happens. And be honest with yourself, because that is the biggest thing. Because I tell you, you can definitely have slopes in life. When you set up a routine, you will feel that at some point you'll get tired of it happening again and again. But that's the only way to become a master in any skill. You've got to understand that as well. And Also, it is okay to slip once in a while. It's okay to take a break. But what separates the winners and the losers is that from one dip, they get back up and they understand that, okay, fine, I'm done slipping. Now I got to get back on track. That's what separates winners and losers. Because once you slip away, you are ending that habit which you already had and you are starting a new one. And that is a bad habit. You got to keep up the good habits. You got to reward yourself for the good habits. And by rewarding yourself, some people, they say that the main reason we are made to act for a behavior or a habit is if we find a reward in it. That's the biggest thing. We act because of how we feel, and how we feel are because of the actions we took. So we act because of how we feel, and because of the actions we took, like we get the feeling from the actions we took. Now, the next thing I would like to tell you is that how to bring this desire in you. Now, I've been talking about desire and all of this satisfaction you're going to feel and things like that. I'll just like to ask you one question. Have you ever felt like satisfied when you're in the zone? Like many people talk about when you're actually working and you sort of feel like you're in the zone. Let me tell you that that is one of the most satisfying feelings ever. And if you are in the zone, the things you can accomplish, you won't even know. Like this is one of the first books I ever read, and that is only because you can focus and put yourself in that spirit of accomplishing the things. You see, there is a rule called the Goldilocks rule, which says that if you are interested in something, that is only because you are 4% more challenged by it. That is the Goldilocks rule. And theoretically in life, you can't account for that 4%. But let me give you an example. Let's say you are playing tennis and you're playing it with a 4-year-old. Well, of course, you're going to get bored easily. But let's say you play with Serena Williams. Well, you're definitely going to lose motivation. So you just got to make it challenging enough for you to get the desire for doing that thing. Because we don't want to make it too easy. We don't have to make it too challenging. You just have to be real with yourself. Like, set expectations which aren't too far from reality. Because when you meet those expectations, that is when you will be satisfied. And that this satisfaction is the difference between your expectations and your rewards. And you have got to be very real with the expectations, therefore. But I can tell you, one of the expectations which I made of getting 4 A stars at this A levels was the best I could ever make. And I tell you, it is very possible. If I could do it, you could do it as well. This is one thing you can always tell yourself. And also, always go to people who have already done this before. I have had some people like I took for A levels. They did their exam this year and they had a talk with me. And one of them had 3 A stars in their A levels and the other had 9 A stars. My parents are just watching this and they are now knowing it. But I tell you, those people who have already done things before definitely have a bigger advantage in achieving success in the same field. Now, next, I would like to say, I do understand some of you why perseverance is very hard, because we as humans have naturally chosen to go for the law of least effort. To summarize this, it's been said that the climate changes and latitudes have pretty much been the same. That is why if you look at farmers from Europe and Asia, they found it way easier. So there was more cultivation and more population growth in those than the Americas, North and South, because of the geographical location. Because it's way harder to farm from the North and South and than compared to the West and East. So we as humans have naturally been meant to choose the law of least effort. And also, from the time we were Neanderthals, we were living in a very immediate response environment. Like, let's say a storm coming and then I have to go, or I see some animal and then I've got to kill it, or I've got to feed for food or whatever. That is an immediate driven response environment. But right now we are in a delayed driven environment. That is why you get pleasure when you actually end up eating fast food or you play video games. It is because you are actually benefiting, and you are kind of programmed since the time you were Neanderthals to actually get pleasure from this sudden rise in dopamine levels. So it is completely normal for that. But right now, It is, I tell you, perseverance is living in this delay response environment. And if you understand what I'm saying, it is very, very hard right now to do something knowing that the success is not going to be at this particular moment of time, but it's going to come in, let's say, years or sometimes months or or a decade. Like, you just have to motivate yourself. And the best way you can motivate yourself, you know it. You know it. You've got to be honest with yourself. You've got to sit down with yourself and let yourself know that I have got to do this by all means possible, and I can do it. That's the one thing I'm going to conclude by saying, that you definitely can do it. If I can do it, I'm telling you, I was not the smartest in my class. You can do it. And tell yourself that every morning once you wake up. Whatever goals you have in life, tell yourself that you can do it. Thank you.